the ark. This gateway is the way we'll go to heaven one day. Some of us will pass through the gates of heaven. Some of us, the gates of hell. I meditated on hell as I looked at St. Louis. Beautiful city. A lot of immorality, crime. Headed to the Mississippi to take a shower. It was a gloomy day as I walked the banks and meditated on how many people have sailed down the Mississippi in search of gold, wealth, material goods. And in that number were a few missionaries living for the gospel. America is a great nation with a lot of wealth. Let us make it an effort to thank God for these blessings. And then I took my shower in the Mississippi. A hobo has to do what a hobo has to do. I showered and I felt fresh. Besides, I'm not trying to stink when I'm on a bus. I pointed my camera around. Having received Jesus in the Holy Eucharist, I am strengthened for everything. Pope John Paul II always says that. The Eucharist is my secret. Daily Mass and confession. Without confession and a desire to change your sinful life, you're worthless. There is Jesus. I was hungry. He didn't feed me. I was oppressed. He did nothing for me in jail. I headed to the Greyhound bus station where I was a little bit harassed. As a hobo, I'm used to it. Our days on earth are full of suffering. Saints talk about suffering to go to heaven. There is no way to heaven but suffering. If you don't want to suffer, you can be like drinking and smoking, trying to ease away the pain, only to commit suicide, like the celebrities that we see in our culture today. They make millions of dollars, have beautiful women, nice houses, mansions, and gourmet meals, and they take their own life because they try to think that you could escape suffering. When God told Adam and Eve, He told them you're going to suffer. And so it is, we'll all suffer. And the saints teach us to suffer with Christ, to carry our cross on a daily basis. As he who carried the cross begins and says, he that should follow me should carry his cross on a day-to-day basis. Sister Faustina talks about people carrying the cross. Some people were carrying their cross with diligence. Some people were just hanging on to it, and some were dragging it. Carry your cross, beloved, your sufferings, the mockeries, the scourgings, the exclusions, the rejections, the pains, the hurt. Reunite them to the heart of Jesus, to the pierced heart of Jesus. Reunite these pains with Christ. I am a hobo. I own nothing. I could have lied and made some money. I could be living a life of chicks every weekend, hot chicks, cheerleaders, amazing women, strippers. But here I am, a hobo, scorned by everybody. That's what life is if you choose to follow Jesus. The city of St. Louis. I love cityscapes. They capture my imagination. This is a uniquely American desire in design, to have the central business district. So the bus churned as we approached the Mississippi. Structures of steel and might, iron and might, clouds spreading across the river like a bicep. The Mississippi River captures their imagination, the barges. And now we were in East St. Louis. When I got to St. Louis, they always say the same thing. Whatever you do, don't cross that bridge into East St. Louis. This is a place supposedly rife with gang activities, murderers, thugs, brutal rapes, criminal activity. But I question myself. We need morals. Christ tells us to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Beloved, If you're living a life of sin and murdering and killing and pillaging, you will die and go to hell. That is no exception to that. For as a man soweth, a man reapeth. If you sow of the flesh, you will reap corruption. If you sow for the desires of your flesh in your way, you will die and go to hell. There is no question asked. East St. Louis. The bus churned, the wheels turned, and I said goodbye to St. Louis and East St. Louis, back to the cornfields, America's food basket. What Hillary Clinton called the deplorables are the people that feed her. This is a sad time to be alive, when the farmers are mocked and called backward. Without them, you won't eat. St. Louis East. America is decomposing. I suppose it's because of our moral issues. We have stepped away from our family values. Where we had family structure, now we have people hooking up and walking away from their kids. This reminds me of the saints who talk about nature. If you take a seagull and put it in the desert, it's going to die. If you take a worm and put it on the curb, it's going to die. If you take a human that comes from a mother and a father and bring them into a situation without a family, they're going to die. The family is what an atom is to an element, or a molecule is to a compound, the smallest particle of society. Charity begins at home. Without a mother and a father and a family, we are done as a country. That's just my opinion. I continue to go and look outside the window. You might be annoyed by my preaching, but I surely will not stop. We all have been commissioned as Catholics to go out and preach the moral truths of the church, despite the opposition, the hatred, the ridicule. It is worth it.